är i mötet.
Hello, Jay. Hello, Johan.
Hallå, hallå.
Hello.
Hello, Anla.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
How are
I'm
you
certain
doing?
where my webcam went.
Has it gone to sleep?
Well, somehow I must have pushed a button. I'm not sure where. Maybe here?
Hello, Marcus, and hello, Mikael.
Hello, hello.
We are still waiting for our special guest for this evening. And I'm thinking we might wait a couple of minutes past 8:30 before we actually start, just to make sure that some people have the opportunity to get online, so to speak. Hello, Knut. Lots of Saga people. That's good. Warms my heart. Hello, Ben. I think your mic might be muted or something, but I'm so happy to see you.
Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. I'm really looking forward to this.
I'm sure it'll be a blast. We're still waiting for the guest of honor, but he should show up in a minute.
Great.
Let's see who's shown up. We're still waiting on our main presenter, but to those of you who have arrived, I would like to say welcome. A very warm welcome to all of you. It is lovely to see you here. I can start out by informing that this is I'm so happy to see you that you have found your way to this seminar hosted by the Swedish Annual Game Design Awards, or SAGA for short. For those of you who don't know, SAGA is a new limited competition for those of you who have found the joy in making games. And the final for this year's competition will be held at Lincoln later this year. Lincoln is one of Sweden's largest board gaming conventions, and I would love to see any and all of you there. I can see in the chat here, or in the participants list, that several of this year's competitors are in this seminar right now, which warms my heart to no end. So happy to see you here. This seminar is also held in cooperation with the Swedish organization Studiefrämjandet and the Swedish Discord channel Spiegel Design Bubble. For those of you who do not speak Swedish, that probably sounded like mumbo jumbo, but they are great communities and organizations committed to spreading the word about game design. I would also like to mention that this seminar is part of a monthly series that we run, where we the first Tuesday of every month, we invite to these seminars, and we hold first, we have a keynote speaker who speaks for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then once that is done, we take a short break, and after the short break, we have an open floor for anyone to raise any and all concerns or questions they may have about game design. So please stick around for that. I would love to discuss some things. Might have some problems of my own even. I can see that we are still waiting on the main guest for the evening, which is John Manker, who is part of the Swedish publisher Ion Game Design, which is one of Sweden's largest publishers. And we will wait upon his arrival. I'll probably ping him quickly to see if he's running late or something. I haven't heard from him, but I'm hoping he will show up shortly. Nevertheless, if you feel like you need go and run an errand, a short errand, this would probably be the time before it starts. I can say that we won't start before maybe 20 minutes to the hour. So 8:40 local time. So if you're not in Central European time, you'll have to do some math, but I trust you. Yes. For those of you who have recently joined us, we are waiting on John Manker, who will be the keynote speaker for tonight. He seems to be running a bit late, so I have delayed this until 20 minutes to 9. So we'll wait a few more minutes and hopefully he'll show up soon. I have pinged him as well, so hopefully he'll answer very soon. Otherwise, we'll think of something. Yeah, probably. Well, it is now 8:40. Our keynote speaker still hasn't shown up, sadly. So here's what we'll do. We will wait until 9 o'clock, and I will try and reach him and see if we can get him in here. So we reconvene in 20 minutes, and hopefully I can get him to the floor. And if we can't, then we'll probably reschedule and try for another day. I thank you dearly for your patience. This was unexpected and not according to my plans, but let's try and make the best of it. So I repeat, we will meet back here in 20 minutes. Tjena Jon. Du är mutad tror jag.
Nej. Nu då? Hörs jag nu?
Nu hörs du. Vet du, nu hade vi otur. För jag sa precis åt dem att vi skulle ses igen om 20 minuter. Medan jag försökte få tag på dig.
Ja, förlåt. Jag var tvungen att hitta fungerande internet här.
Ja. Det är sånt som händer.
Det är sånt som händer.
Ja.
Bra, men ingen hann hoppa ut hoppas jag.
Jo, ett par stycken hann hoppa ut.
Men då väntar vi på att de hoppar in igen då, om du kan få tag på dem snabbt. Eller?
Ja, jag kan försöka.
Eller vill du att jag väntar 20 minuter för att det skulle vara bra att köra nu?
Skulle det vara bra för dig att köra nu?
Jag kan vänta om det är så att du redan har sagt det och folk har hoppat ut.
Ja, nej, men då kör vi 20 minuter paus och så kör vi då istället.
Så klockan 3. Eller vad säger jag för mig? 9 för er.
Precis. Klockan 3 för dig, 9 för oss. Exakt.
Okej. Hör bara vartannat ord tyvärr. Från mig eller?
Nej, i mina öron hörs du alldeles utmärkt. Så jag tror det är lokalt så att säga.
Okej.
Mm.
Yes. Ja men då så. Då hoppar jag in igen om 18 minuter kör vi igång. Jag hoppar in om 15 minuter.
Grymt. Toppen ju.
Bra.
Mm.
Det är snart.
Är det någon som är kvar här som man kan köta med?
Jo, jag är ute med hunden och lyssnar.
Ja, men tjena.
Jag är med, tjena. Det var ju lite oflytt, får man ju säga.
Ja.
Jag hade gjort samma call som du, kan jag ju lugnt säga.
Ja. Hade jag haft is i magen i 2 minuter till.
Ja, fast vem hade vetat? Ja.
Nej.
Det hade
Det
kunnat
är
ta
sånt
längre
som
tid
händer.
också. Ja.
Mm. Det hade det kunnat göra. Läget då?
Jo, det är bra. Det är blåsigt och kallt. Men det är fint. Ja. Själva?
Härligt. Jo då. Det flyter på. Gör det. Mm. Ja, nej men vi kanske hörs igen om, det är bara en kvart ungefär. Då kanske du har kommit in med hunden också.
Mm. Ja, jag har nog det. Troligtvis.
Gott så.
Kanske. Ja, hörs.
Hey Jason. You know what happened? He dropped in like half a minute before I made the call. or half a minute after.
So what, did he get stuck in a parallel timeline, or?
Or no, I'm not sure. He said he had trouble finding reliable internet.
Okay.
But he seemed to be up and running now, so he'll be back at 9. What are you doing?
I am working on another prototype, not for Saga, but for.
Oh, the production line one?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, look at that. That's beautiful.
There's these things.
Very pretty. I think I signed up for playing. I think I've signed up for playing your game at Fasta.
Cool.
Yeah.
I will have many copies ready.
Really? How many are you bringing?
4.
Oh, damn. How many signups did you get?
A lot.
Really? Nice.
I think, but I've discovered that the game is longer than the time slot if you play it 4, so I'm gonna have to, I think, limit it to 3 players.
Ah, right. That's probably nice. That's very nice of you. The organizers will thank you for not exceeding your time slot.
Yes. Yeah. I checked. I realized that. Okay, I was hoping to get it within that 2-hour window, but it's looking tight. Maybe if people knew the rules and were speeding through it, yeah, we can definitely finish it in 2 hours. But
Right.
yeah, that's not a reasonable thing to expect.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I got printing out my sticker sheets for all my things.
Look at that.
These are brand new. With the
player boards.
Yeah,
Pretty.
player boards. Need to cut out the recessed things so you can move your little markers there.
Let's see here.
And I just got blind playtesting feedback.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I left a copy in California almost a year ago, and they finally got it to the table about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So, but yeah, I've been sending them updates periodically.
Oh,
And but yeah, and they figured it out all on their own.
Really?
Yeah, some questions about like how like the things were unclear, so I've made those. Yeah, that's why I've improved this to make it a little more clear as to what's going on with what you need to set up for startup. But yeah, and scores 117 to 119, which makes me feel like a mathematician, and they've tried very different strategies.
Uh,
I think this is in pretty good shape. And I got the tabletops. I figured out the scripting part for the tabletop simulator. So
Did you?
Yep, advanced. And a few other cool tabletop simulator tricks. Like, I don't know if you've ever had a game with a lot of randomized zones.
No, not randomized zones. No.
I have seven different little small decks that I would like to shuffle before each game.
Ah,
Yeah, just set it so when you load up tabletop simulators, it says, would you like to shuffle this region? Would you like to shuffle this region? Would you like to do this? Yes. Do it once, it's not that big a deal. But with scripting, every time you want to test your scripting, it reloads the workshop. And then it prompts you every single time. So the first thing I did was rip out all of those, and now there's just a button that shuffles everything when you want.
perfect.
Yes.
Is there a lot of shuffling?
No, just at the start.
Just at the start. Okay.
Yeah. And you really, I mean, you don't really even need to shuffle. It's just everything's already randomly assorted. You just need to say, okay, this deck goes here, this deck goes here, this deck goes there, trucks go here. And Yeah, offices go here, the other offices go there. And there, you're set up. Let's see. I'm also fixing dinner, so.
Multitasking.
Yep. Building a prototype, listening to a talk, and fixing dinner.
You're superhuman. That's what I'm hearing.
Why do one thing when you can do three?
Tjena Stoffe.
Jag var lite sen.
Nej, det är ingen fara. Du har tur, för det var även John Manker.
Okej. Det var läggdags.
Ja, jag fick mina odjur i säng relativt fort för en gångs skull.
Ja.
Ja, det var härligt. Nej, men vi har lagt om så vi börjar prick istället om 8 minuter.
Det är bra.
Jo, så det passar ju dig alldeles utmärkt.
Jo. Då hinner jag göra lite mer grejer.
Eller hur?
Förbereda lite. Ja.
8 minuter hinner man mycket på.
Det gör man. Jo, jag slår på kameran också.
Det är valfritt. Tjenare.
Tjena.
Lika stilig som vanligt.
Fan.
I should be fixing my prototype too, Jason. But I'm being fancy this year. I'm sending it off to the printer. Or rather, I'm saying fancy, but the actual word is lazy.
Or smart. I'm not so smart. I like doing everything by hand.
I'm not sure if it is smart. I mean, several times I've done it. I think I've done it before Essen, and I got all the stuff like the day before traveling to Essen.
Ooh,
And
exciting.
yeah, I know things were cutting it close, and some things were wrong. I had, yeah, my stomach hurts.
Yeah.
I've actually given away a prototype with some faults in it as well.
Oops.
And I discovered it afterwards when I got it back from the publisher.
Oh, was it? Did you give it away to a publisher?
Yeah, I gave it away, and then they played it, gave it back, and said, "Yeah, there were some stuff missing."
Oh, okay. That not just like okay.
Yeah,
Critical pieces.
yeah,
Oops.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but luckily, it was an asymmetrical game, so it was just some factions that couldn't be played. So they could still play it, but it was not a good look.
Mm-hmm.
So I was not happy. But sometimes you need some things. I apparently need to learn the hard way. So now I make sure to check all the timelines before ordering stuff. Well, before.
Yeah. I think I have everything that I need for my game. But should know by the end of this week for sure.
Mhm.
I want to have one copy completely done by the end of this week, and then just barrel down to the other 4. Now, this one is pretty fancy for being handmade. Got dual layer recessed boards and lots of components.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if this is too many components for a game.
How many is it?
It's 150 cubes.
A lot of cubes.
That's a lot of cubes. And then I'll have 44 pallets. That is going to be fun to make.
Pallets? As in 3D pallets or just some tiles?
Yes. So this is how I'm making them. I've got little.
Ah, right. Look at that.
Yeah, and then you can put up to 4 goods. Let me grab some.
Can you fit cubes inside the pallets or?
Exactly.
Ah,
And hopefully this will be not super fussy. But yeah. Where's my camera?
well,
Yeah.
isn't that the height of thematic integration?
Yes. If you want, you can stack the pallets. I think stacking more than 2 at a time is excessive.
Mm.
That's just going to result in a mess.
Yep.
No.
Oh.
Score tracker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. You're starting to drop back in. That's good. Hello, Ben, for example. I can delightfully tell you that John Manker will be showing up. He he got back in here 30 seconds after I made the call to postpone, of course.
That's usually the way, right?
Yeah. That's probably the way it has to be.
I saw him. He does exist.
He doesn't. He's not a ghost. So he'll be here any minute, and then we'll start.
And while there's a captive audience, if people aren't aware, in probably November, we haven't scheduled it yet, there will be the Malmo Protospiel. So designers can sign up, and that's also with the Studifrågan Undead. So we have one of those out here in Malmo, and using the space there. It's huge space. A little out of the way, but we've been getting how the Protospiel works is we invite designers sign up, and it's free to the public, and they come in and try out board games, and at the end of the event we raffle off some published board games as prizes for everybody who tested. And designers are also welcome to test, encouraged to test each other's games, and you are also eligible for prizes. Oh yeah.
Excellent. That's the actual Malmö Protospiel and not the fake Saga Malmö Protospiel that I'm making.
Yours is different. Yours is the Swedish Game Awards. There's no competition for the designers. It's just everybody wins, and then you get lots of excellent feedback, and
Exactly.
and
Different thing.
Mhm.
I would say that the name Protospiel is probably public domain, and if it isn't, it should be.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if there's some organization that runs the Protospiel and they want to sue me for using their name, say bring the press.
Exactly. Bring it in.
Yeah.
Do you want bad press? Here you go.
No such thing. The more people who know about it, the better.
Exactly.
If I have to make a big fuss about it and change the name to, I don't know.
You're probably fine.
Probably just say it's 2 separate words slowly, and to avoid litigation or something.
But that's prototype.
This is the proto spiel.
The proto spiel.
No, I can't imagine that. It just raises all boats. The more people are aware of proto spiel events.
Yeah, that's the best attitude to have.
Yeah. That's the one I have. We'll see if
Hmm.
if I can get big enough so that the US proto spiels get upset that there's one.
Yeah.
Great. That's an excellent problem to have.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, everyone. John Manker was here for a short while. He'll be dropping in any second now, hopefully. I'm making it sound like a mysterious creature. He is one. He is the ran to grab a few things. He actually showed up 30 seconds after I made a call to postpone it till 9 o'clock, which is ironic somehow. I should learn to chill more, probably. But while we're waiting, I again want to welcome you to this seminar hosted by Swedish Annual Game Design Awards, or SAGA for short. And SAGA is, again, a newly minted competition for those of you who have found the joy in making games. And this year's final will be held at Lincoln later this year on the 29th of May. And even if you're not participating in SAGA, you're very much welcome to show up and just hang out with other designers, try out some cool games part of the competition, and just enjoy the atmosphere. So I highly encourage any budding designer to attend Lincoln. It will be a blast. I also want to mention that this seminar is held in cooperation with the Swedish organization Studiefrämjandet and the Swedish Discord channel Speldesign Babel, with the purpose of spreading knowledge about game design. This seminar is also part of a monthly series, which we host at the first Tuesday of every month, where we start out with a keynote speaker, whom today is none other than John Manker. Let's see if we can get him up on the screen here. I saw him drop in here for everyone. There we go. Hello, John. Welcome. I think you're muted. It is
I
such
said hello.
hello. It is such a blessing to have you here, and I will give you the floor in just a few short seconds.
No problem.
We will start out by having a presentation by John for about 45 minutes. It is more or less up to him how much he actually wants to speak. But then at around 9:45, we will stop and hold a short Q&A with John, where you can ask any and all questions you may have thought of during the seminar or previously. After that, we will have a short break of about, I think, 5 to 10 minutes. After that, we reconvene and open the floor to anyone to raise any question they may have regarding game design. With that said, John Manker, a big welcome to you and a round of applause. The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is in English, I have been told, and which is no problem for me, especially since I am currently in the United States. I have been here at a fair called GAMA. Is there any of you all great people who has been at GAMA? Do I have a chat here? Do I see a chat? No, there's the chat window. All right. If you say so, you can always interrupt me, by the way, and you can write in the chat if you don't want to interrupt. So anyway, I was at a place called GAMA, and this is interesting it was the first time I was there, and it's a very good fair if you are a publisher and you seek retailers, basically. And then it's also good for business to business. This is only business to business. You kind of need to be a part of the GAMA Association, which costs $300. So it's not a cheap, but then you get 2 tickets. And very nice atmosphere, very good place. So that super detailed fact first, just to tell why I am here. I'm also here visiting game store to have a little in-store event with them, and I will also have events hopefully later on with them. They are called Millennium Games, and they are, according to themselves, the biggest game store in the world. And well, they're big, but it's a game store, so it's not bigger than game stores are. But they have a big area where you can play, and they have a quite good program of stuff. Anyways, without being too much involved in that, I will continue by talking more on the actual things that I'm about to say. So first of all, I just thought I'm going to go quickly through what we think about game design, like the steps. Some of these might be too easy for you, but I just wanted to recap, how the process looks in the way we think about it, and hopefully something of this may be of interest for most of you. Then this is also the whole idea. So first of all, I should maybe present myself, but the idea to this lecture came from when we met Daniel and I at one of these, was it Sunday? Yeah, anyways, weekend events where prototypes are tested for this SAGA competition. And I said I really liked that initiative, and I was thinking what we could do to help out. And one thing, it's also because we at Ion, which I come from, my company, we have an ambition since 1.5 years back to help people self-publish their games. So I will present like an overview of the game design publishing fulfillment thing, like sequence, just to give you some data and meat and material. I will then look more deeply into the different documents and stuff we have for P3, as we call this service. And then there was a Q&A session, which was 45 minutes from now or so, as Daniel said. So then I can answer any questions you have. And you may interrupt me during my talk with any kind of questions. Just shout out, or if I don't see you, I don't know, raising your hand or something. I have only a laptop here, so I don't see many of the things at the same time. So if I miss you raising your hand or writing in the chat, just shout out in the audio space. So for those who don't know me, again, my name is Manker. I have been working on game-related things full-time since 2007, and I have been running my board game publishing company, Ion Game Design, since 2014. I founded it. I wouldn't say I'm running it, because the first person I took into Ion Game Design is the CEO, because I don't want to be a CEO. I'm not a CEO. I am a visionary. I am good at thinking things. I'm good at structuring things, sure, but I'm not good at maintaining them and all those things. That's just not my forte. So the first thing I took in was a CEO. I'm pretty good at selling, which usually is a CEO's responsibility, but we're helping each other out. So of course, me and Besime, anyways, and Besime is fantastic as a CEO. The best business decision I have ever done in my life, and that's not only because it was a good decision to take in a CEO, it's because she is marvelous. So we have been taking our company Ion Game Design through a number of acts, as we call them in our business plan. The first act was unplanned, or so. It was 5 years of finding the pace, finding the place, finding the situation, and then when we figured out how we are going to go about, because I knew a lot about board games, but I knew nothing about publishing. And my goodness, there's so much. I'm learning still every day, actually, and every week a lot. And me and the Besime stop sometimes and just say, okay, how was the situation a year ago? What have we progressed? How much have we learned? And how? It's always flabbergasting to think about, wow, it's a year, and that's so much has happened. So there is tons and tons and tons of knowledge and information that's useful. And we would like to share that somehow, because that's one of our visions or goals with Ion. We want to contribute to board gaming at large in every way, sort of form we can. And one of those sorts and forms are, of course, that people can get empowered to design and reach an audience, no matter how big or small. It doesn't need to be worldwide, launch, but somehow reach an audience. If you don't want to do anything else than just have the game in your own designed variant that you play with your family, then you don't need to do more than that. But if you want to reach other than that, we want to print like 50, 100 copies to sell at some fair or con, or then a big bunch of things to think about encounter you, and then that's the thing we want to share. And board game industry is such an interesting place to be at this day and age and this time, because it's probably the best time for board games, I don't know, ever, to be honest. It was a big horse in board gaming in the late 1800s, where in the bourgeois the playing of board games grew and so forth. And then I would say it's been there, but I didn't have the horse that many other art forms and media forms and whatnot had during the 1900s. And then in the end of the 1900s, usually Catan is mentioned as a portal for the new era, but then came the new version of board games. But I would say there's like a new generation coming in the 2010s, inspired by digital games and upheld by digital gamers. We were, for example, surprised that when we did, we checked our games. If you don't know them, we make games about historical themes, about science themes, space, in several occasions. So that's unusually to the heavier side. And we inspire our games from these. It's not simulations or anything. We just take facts and use that in the game as our basis for the design idea. However, these things we do games, so we thought they were, quite leaning towards a male audience, maybe 45 to 55 years old. We did a more structured study of this during the autumn, and we're surprised to see that our most common customer was not at all as predominantly male as we thought. It was still, more male than female, but more even mix, and between 25 and 35. So the players today are really the guys and girls who have grown up playing games their entire life, rather than watching television or other stuff. So there's tons and tons of saying about how you design the game, but I will leave that, because you are designers, all of you, and you know that you do it in your way, and I can talk about that for a long time, but I won't do it now, because I will talk about other things that is more about making the game into a product, into something that can reach an audience, and that's the preparation. So let's start with preparation. Oh, wait a minute. Plopid said,
Yes,
Daniel,
yes,
you have
yeah.
raised a hand.
Yes, I have a
Sure.
question, because what you mentioned was incredibly interesting. You said that your primary audience you did the study, and the primary audience was boys and girls 25 to 35 years old.
Yes.
And you said something along the lines that they have grown up playing games from an early age and had it throughout their whole lives. Do you think that their preferences are inherently different to what we typically think of a board game consumer for that very reason? I just found that observation really interesting. Could you elaborate a bit on it?
No, so I skipped over a number of analysis points there, actually, but when we analyze this for our own sake, we are doing games in a tradition which is more, theme based, and with a lot of, maybe sandbox, maybe so more like digital games tend to be than your average Eurogame German, resource management, worker placement, point salad game is. So that's the reason that was our thought, that maybe that's why we attract customers of this age more than we thought. It's not alone. It's not our target audience. It's not our and it's not only those who buy it, but it was the most common buyer, which was surprising. We thought it would be older, and our analysis then was maybe we attract those because we have people who have played digital games, and then the kind of games we do attract them. That's that's my thinking about that. Great question, and go ahead and ask questions whenever you want, following Daniel's great example. So first of all, when you have a game idea, that's something you need to decide upon if you're going to do publish it. And now also I'm talking about this because this service that I'm going to present a little later, that's a service we do. So what we do with that, it's called P3, and if you have a game, you have basically 3, maybe 4, or let's say 4, but the 4th is a little odd, so I'll tell all of them. So you have 4 ways. You can go to an agent. An agent is someone who looks at your game, thinks it's good. If they think it's good, accepts it, and then starts selling it towards different publishers, usually publishers who don't meet with anyone else than agents. And this is the big ones. And this is usually quite hard. It doesn't cost you anything. You can send it to any number of agents, or some agents actually charge you for looking at their game. So yes, it could also cost you, and it costs you the shipping, it costs you the prototypes. If you travel somewhere, it costs you the travel. But if they don't take any money for representing you per se, if they choose you, then they take 50% or so of the income when you are signed by a company. So they will take a big part of it. But agent, yes, but it's still, you don't know if it's pretty hard to get the agents to accept a game. They only take a few per year. So it's about as hard as the second track, which is going to a publisher and getting the publisher to say, wow, we like this game, we're going to publish it. And then you write a royalty deal with them, and you get money when they are printed. The third track is, of course, self-publishing. If you're publishing it yourself, then you have all the power. You can start whenever you want, but you have no traction. You don't have any sales channels. You get pretty shitty deals, and you have probably very little knowledge about how to make this good. So many people choose this track, and a dream becomes a nightmare, unfortunately. The fourth way is to sell it like as a business-to-business deal completely. Let's say make a board game which is the Christmas gift of the year for Vattenfall or something, or IKEA, and then you can make 1,000 games, and it's only for them, and it's very niche and designed for a certain purpose. But let's take that odd bird aside, and then we say agent, publishing with a publisher, and self-publishing. With P3, we have taken self-publishing and publishing with a publisher and mashed them together, so it's the same thing. So you would take the financial risk, but you would have all the know-how, all the sway, and all the networking that Ion has, and we would help you all the way. But it makes sense for both, because we can't, at the moment, for various reasons, take on more games. It's too long of a waiting time for you, and it's also doesn't fit the business model at the moment. So we need to, but we still want to help people, and this is our solution. It's nothing new. It's been done among books, but the way we do it, as far as I know, the way we actually take the game on as if it was our game, that's or help it out as if it was our game, because it's still going to be the self-publishing entities game. So anyways, I will tell you more about the details, but that's the service we are providing, and that's the inspiration for this talk. So the things I'm talking about here is, what are you when you come with this game, and what are we kind of doing for the game, and what would you be part of on that journey? If you choose to, you can also choose to like hand over the game to us, do a few things like managing the Kickstarter with our supervision and so forth, and then just relax and design your next game, and then we take care of the rest. But I still want to share about the knowledge of what we're doing. All right. So preparing for publication. When you come with the game, when you are in the state where it's time to think, maybe I should publish this. Preferably, you should have 80% of the game done. Preferably, you should be at a state which is called vision freeze, which means stop doing anything. Stop adding mechanics, stop adding things that you have that is not details, so to speak. So vision freeze, that's something you do when you are about 80% in, I would say, and you start play testing for final balance. You start testing for, you know, the vision, if it's fulfilling what you wanted it to fulfill. You started to play testing for you know, that it fits the external play testers. You should of course have done external play testing before that, but now you're like testing the final product. But you might add cards, you might add components, but don't add whole chunks of mechanics. And then when you do that, that's kind of, then in that sense you also prepare for publication, and that's when you choose, okay, what am I going to do now? Am I going to go to an agent? Should I go to run on all balls at the same time? But one of them could be P3, and that's when you would contact us for that. And then what we would do, and what you should do, if with and without us, I stopped saying that now, so you know, you can do this yourself, or this is something that would happen in P3 project. Then there will be board game, so we try to plan the project and make a production timeline for it. So we usually use Scrum. I advocate Scrum, or in combination with something called Kanban. So you have clear, you know, deadlines and stages which the game goes from one to the other to the third. And within these, we try to break it down into tasks for the publisher or the publishing process, and for the design process that may still remain. You're also supposed at this time to make a budget. You plan for time, you also plan for money. So make a budget and a component list. So the component list, we do the component list very early when we do games, but at least at the latest, absolutely latest, now you need to do it, because that's central for budgeting. And for us, the component list, which is like all the components, like box, rule book, 13 cards on this thing, 15 figures of that thing, blah, 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 blah. That's like our agenda when we have meetings. So whenever we have meetings about the game, we just go through the component list, and that really works well. So we would do that in such a setting as well. But anyways, at the start of this stage of the game, at the latest, you need a component list, and then you also need to make a budget for the whole thing, for moving forward until you have the game out and you know, rolling on its own. There is, of course, a part of making a budget is that you try to get quotes. So you need to reach out to different manufacturers. We have manufactured games primarily in China. We also manufactured one product in Ukraine a couple of years ago, not at the moment for obvious reasons. And we also have manufactured 2 times in Turkey. We are looking desperately for new places to manufacture at. I met with one very, very promising one at the Gamma conference. So I hope we can do something with him, and that's a manufacturer in the United States. They are between 2, 3, 4, up to 5 times more expensive than Chinese manufacturers, which means in many cases it's impossible. You can't print games that way because then it's not a viable product. But if you can choose components and get the price down to maybe double, it might be possible. Because you have, import tariffs, one thing, but you also have the shipping to warehousing and all of that, and you got the turnover, which is faster as well. So there's many advantages that might take away a little bit from the extra cost. We're also looking at Europe. We have been talking to many around there. The most promising at the moment is one in Czech Republic. The Turkish, we have there's also a new one in Turkey that I believe could be a very, very good one that I met at something called Nuremberg Toy Fair a month ago. So we have 2 or 3 new ones that might coming up. The other one in Turkey that we have used, unfortunately, folded this autumn, so they are not around as a company anymore. We're also looking at Taiwan. But at the moment, there is about 85 manufacturers that we have contact with, and we are sending games to a short list of 12 selected of those that we repeatedly go to and replace. If they work well, we continue. If they don't, we bring in others. And that's something you should do at this stage. Do the budgeting, put the manufacturing and costs, and also the shipping costs into it. Try to a little bit more in detail what they might end up being. And then you should. This is also when you do these final testings, is if you haven't done, and probably this is the time when you do the vision freeze. This is the time when you move the rule book. In our case, you move the rule book from Google Docs to InDesign. Could be any other setup for you, but it's from a very cool collaborative environment to a more final PDF environment. And trying to finalize the layout, and that means also proofreading and other kind of reading. But that comes later, of course. You have usually a round of testing and maybe 1, 2, or 3 iterations when the rulebook is actually in this PDF state. Sometimes you need to, front of all, you need to test it in that way as well. You need to put all the example images, which is important to have tested. You have to have, iconography and all of that, and to test that version of the game. And then when that's done, you can do proofreading and preparing the print-ready files. Parallel with this, you try to find the manufacturer and take the things you want to take in account. It could be, I know some people don't want to produce in China. Some people will want to produce at a certain environmentally friendly way, which is probably in China because they are very, very good at that. Some of the factories there. Some want to have a short shipping time and so forth. So, but usually it's the quote, the price quote you get is what you follow, and maybe looking at all examples that they printed before. And there we have quite a lot of knowledge from at least 15 of them or so. Then you get a prototype. So this is the stage when now you have probably selected the manufacturer. You have come to the final version of the rule book and it has been tested. So you are making maybe proofread changes and stuff. And then you have ordered a handmade prototype. So we have a bunch of prototypes. We have the first prototype we call designer prototype, which is just done by the designer. Could look any kind of ugly, could be post-its, whatnot, so things you yourself have experienced from, for sure. Then we have the office prototype, which is something we make nicely in the office with people helping out, and then usually that's something you have as well, I would say. but that one is more. We have a 3D printer, so we try to use some 3D printed material and so forth. Then we have something which is called a handmade prototype, or digital prototype. We have a handmade prototype when we use some company that makes an even nicer version than the office prototype. Those are interchangeable in a way, but we use a great guy in Borås called the Game Prototyper. Well, I think, but a similar service, someone who makes nice looking prototypes in small numbers. And then you get something called a digital prototype, and that's from the factory, and they give this to you, or you have to pay for it, depending on what deal you have. And it's printed in their digital printers, not in the big real printers, but digitally. They have glued it by hand. But it contains usually components that are very, very similar to or identical to the final print, and it looks more or less like the final print. And that's important. That's the most important prototype to check and double check and triple check and quadruple check again, that everything is exactly as you want it, because then after that you don't want to change anything. I missed one step. Before you get that, you also get something called an e-proof, which is just the print files as PDFs. So in that you would get the big sheet where you see a PDF with a big sheet with all the cards next to each other. That's exactly how the sheet they send into the printer, and the printer prints out rather. That's what they expect to do, and then you can check that nothing has gone wrong in the transferring from your InDesign PDF to their Chinese printer softwares. So that's, you had the office prototype, maybe handmade prototype, then you had the e-proof, then you had a digital prototype. And this is all going on while you're choosing this manufacturer and so forth. Important. So around here, I would say you also have the Kickstarter. If you have a Kickstarter or a Game Found or something similar. And before this, you should have started the Kickstarter page. Some people should say that about 9 months before the Kickstarter is a good time to launch the Kickstarter preview page. And there is some things to do there at Kickstarter now. It's much more things and features to work with in GameFound as a pre-launch page, so to speak, during those 9 months. So try and be active there. We don't do it. I know we should, but it's just too much bandwidth. So we haven't really done that, but we try, and we try to be early, and we try to act a lot on that, page. And in the ideal case, and maybe if you have just your game and can you really have one game and focus on it, then that could be a thing. And as I said, if in P3 we would help and with all our knowledge, but it's proven to be, when we talk to people about this, it's always better if the person that is the original designer or the person who made this game is the sender, or the one who's running, who's like sender, yeah, for a crowdfunding campaign. So the marketing phase, even though I say now you should start marketing quite a lot, it started 9 months ago, before the Kickstarter was launched. And then you need, if you started it sometime during those 9 months, and this is very, very individual. But at the latest now, which is now is probably a bit too late, but at the latest now you should have all marketing material done. And this is a problematic process, because you don't know which feet to move forward first and not. Because you have the need to have final art, but you also, and that's much later than, you didn't have final art 9 months ago, you're starting to get it now, and then how are we going to do that? Usually a box image is good to have. So start by doing a box image that you feel is relatively final, and then you can use that quite a lot during those months that you are waiting for the actual final files to be available. So anyways, during that time, in whatever channel you feel the most comfortable with. For us, the best channel that works the best is YouTube, Meta to some degree in front of Facebook for marketing purposes, and Board Game Geek to some degree. And we also have, which is kind of social media, we have a Discord server where we, which is important, of course, because that's people who are extra interested. And we have our newsletter. So you're supposed to have done that quite a bit, but now you should make sure everything is in place and you're really, really focusing on pushing everything you can towards the launch of that Kickstarter or Game Phone, if you're running one of those, which I would advise you to do, to be honest. And then in that time leading forward to this, you should also have made a good stretch goal plan, some pledge management strategies, some add-on strategies, and try to make the best of the crowdfunding situation. So the quality control, super important on the digital prototype, and then you can start manufacturing. Now, I should say this, try to sell early in other ways as well. You can pre-sell to distributors. You can pre-sell, although they don't give you money, but they give you something called a back order. And that's something you can trust on. We have not been in the situation where someone says, we give you this back order, and then they don't buy. So you don't get the money, but you get a promise. So it's kind of money. You can have pre-orders from individuals, you can have pre-orders through crowdfunding campaigns, and you can have pre-orders from retailers, which is usually difficult because they don't really want to pay for something that they don't know that they will get. But some retailers pre-order if they like the game. And then you can also, if you manage to find someone who wants to translate the game to another language, you could get them on board as well. So the idea is to get as much, this is maybe the most important sales, or we have two launch windows. This one is as important almost as the second one. But for you, I would say it's maybe the most important. This sales process here, try to get as much sales as possible before you print. So the game, in the best case scenario, the game breaks even before you hit print. And this is something we try to help people achieve and think in that way through the P3 service. And then the printing start, and then you have quite a long time, usually 4 to 8 weeks, where you can plan for the logistics and so forth. You need you need a service. Usually you need a logistics agent because it's extremely complicated to order, trucks in China, to have them driving to the warehouses in Shanghai Harbor, to load on containers, to bid on containers. That's an auction situation, to have containers going to different parts of the world, to be friendly towards certain areas. So, this Australian friendly, EU friendly, and so forth means you have to have it sent to warehouses in those different locations. And that needs to be separated into different containers. You have different VAT situations in every of those countries where you have to pay VAT for your shipment into the country. Otherwise, it won't be friendly. And also you have to maybe send special copies to certain pre-order situations, so forth. And there's a lot of tariffs and stuff. You need someone to help you with that, unless you are like 100-employee company or something. I think they would run it themselves. But we use an agent. We have changed agents a few times, but it's something we have as help, but it still takes us a lot of time because they don't, they can help you with a certain thing, but you need to be there all along the way to have a consistent discussion with them and so forth. And you need to have everything in place. So we have warehouses in Australia, China, Germany, England, and the United States. And in all these places, we might open one in Canada. And in all these places, you need to have a facility to handle taxes and stuff. This is because games have a long tail, and usually that's something you need to factor into it. Games, board games in particular, expect them to be, if they're doing well, means they are selling for a long time. You really want that. You want an evergreen. You want something with a really long tail, so it continues to sell year after year after year after year. You can just add, add-ons, expansions, new outlets where you sell it, new services, chains where you can. There's so much you can do with a game when you start getting it out there. Yeah, that's a part that is going to be important when the game finally lands somewhere, and that's why you need to have it in various places and storage and that solution in place. And let's see now. So that's when you're there, then of course you come to the situation where you do more of it. You have all these different kinds of extra components that you can continue designing for it. Or you don't want to do that route, even though it's quite a good value for bang for the buck for the time you put into it. Maybe you just want to do your next game, sure, and do your next game. But it's an opportunity that you can do. And marketing, the second launch window is when they arrive to the warehouses, and that's when you need to put a second media push into the whole thing. Other things you can do, you can make digital versions of these games. I have some knowledge about that. I used to work at a place called Paradox, which is a digital game company, and my work therein was about app versions and app version conversion and also some design. I was a team lead at the team that worked on these things. But I wanted to do board games, and I now have Ion, but we are since like 2 years back doing app versions for the games we are involved in somehow. So that's also something you can do either yourself. It takes quite some time. If you're a programmer, you might be able to do it, but it takes more time than you think actually. And you can use an external. We have used that for 2 games. I cannot recommend it based on our experience. They were awful, to say the least, and it took forever, and it cost, they tried to negotiate away important parts of the game all of a sudden, and yeah, it was a shit show. So we decided not to do that anymore. We're going to have it internally, so we have a small digital team, and we are slowly but surely making digital version of the games. And I think that's board games is one of the few apps that people actually accept paying $10 for the app. So it's potentially, if it's not costing you too much, it's potentially a good way to have an extra outlet for the game. And then, of course, you should not forget to have during the game, but somewhere just when you're done, it's sent out, the final marketing push is done. Don't forget to have a takeaway, like a queue, some kind of celebration, of course, but that might be at other occasions during the trip. You should celebrate your successes during the trip, but don't forget to have a thorough evaluation of lessons learned, and try to do that continuously, but especially at the end, try to collect it together and really digest what you have learned, because that's important to continuously improve. I want to show you, let me see, I can share my screen. Can I share my screen? Is this share screen? Present now. Is that share screen? It seems like that.
Yes, I think if you press the button called present your screen, I think that's the one you can use.
Okay, let's see here.
Yeah, rectangle with an arrow.
That one. So that says present. Choose what to share. Okay. Speldesign, vad är det här för någonting? Ion. Gemini. Vänta. Ja, men det är den där. Jo, den ska jag trycka på. Aha, application window. Sorry. I was looking at tabs. There you go. All right. Can you see that?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Ion
Okay.
Masterclass and Private Publishing Pro.
Yes, so this is to sum up. I want to just briefly go through these documents. We have this is our web page. It looks like this, and if you go to shop and masterclass P3, that's when you would find this page, and then in this page there's a quick overview, but there you can go to detailed information or example or calculation. And if you go to the detailed information, you will come to this place where this describe. This might be a bit out of date because I haven't, looked at it for a while. But this tells you about the different variants. So we have separated into 5 different, ambition levels, so to speak, which are called B2B, which is a when you want us to work more on the design as well, and maybe work more on it's also if someone comes, let's say a company comes to us and says we want to make a game about this, which sometimes they do, and we have had earlier kind of lacked the roadmap to show them. And then we can show here, okay, you want us to do some game design, and also then this is the path to take. Normal is what people would normally do. Small is if you have a smaller print run. Local is if you only want to do something for like a smaller situation, want to sell 200 copies on some fair or something like that, but don't want to go, beyond a small reach. And artist hobby is if you want to do just a few. Artists have come to us and said, okay, I want to do 20 copies of this game. It's going to be an art game. And usually they cost similar to art. I mean, art pieces, small art pieces cost $5,500 or something. So, and then they only do a few of them and they're assigned. Or if you want to do like a little game that you give to everybody at your wedding or something like that. So yeah, that's the different tracks. And we write a little bit about it. And we also have links here to the detailed information about the games. I should say that maybe this is up to date. Yeah, so we have seen that the language partner deals, we can help out with that, but we can't. They've been too cold interest, so we can't really promise that here. That's one thing. But that's other than that, we have this is up to date, I think. And that part is there. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so this kind of shows you what we do, and the starting fees they can vary a little bit depending on where you want to enter, but normally the fees are between 10 and 15,000 for the B2B thing, where we do a lot of design work. It's between 5 and 8,000 if you do a normal setup, and that's what we and this is dollars, and then it's between 3 and 4,000 for smaller, and so forth. So this I jumped to now is the calculation, and also people usually need to have this explained to them, so I'm going to say briefly how this works. So we had first the information sheet, and we have the detailed information there, and we have this one. This is a balance budget. Note that. So we made it this way because you're supposed to be able to plan for your product as a product of so let's for its economy. So let's say you decide you want to make 5,000 copies. You have a flat fee. You want a pretty ambitious, print run. Or maybe we should go for a little less ambitious. Let's say 1,500 copies. So you want a little, but still, this is not something you give to friends. This is something you expect to sell to stores in your country or around the world. So, and here you can choose. This is a roundabout figure. So if you choose to make 1,200 or 2,000 copies, it's the same. It's the same starting fee. But if you go up here, we need to do more work for various reasons, and that's why we increased the rate. And over here is 100, 200, 300, 400. It would be in this vicinity. So let's say you make 2,000 copies, then you write 2,000 copies here. And this document, however, it's linked on the web page. You can edit it. I mean, you can go into it and edit it, and it's editable in all the orange spaces, and those are the ones you're supposed to edit. So you can change that if you want to something else. And then here you can see, let's say this one costs flat fee. Let's say you pay $3,000, and that's the starting fee to us. And then you sell a number of copies on the I don't know what is this football. Okay, MSRP. So here you can write number of copies you sell on Kickstarter, how many you sell. Let me see. So games sold on Kickstarter or similar. It should say crowdfunding here really. And games sold on Pledge Manager, which is afterwards. Printing start cost per game, how much is the game, 30% of the cost, because we have deals now where you only need to pay 30% at the start. And this one is so we should really have that as something like that. So this was set for a 50-50 split before, so I just changed it now to that. And then and yeah, you continue here. You see what the printing cost for second part is, proof, handling. So we have a starting fee, and then we take $2 or so per game when they are printed and when they are sent. And that's for handling those parts. And then we sell the games as we help sell the games, and we sell them as distributors. So you would get 40% of the games back to you. So this one will help you see all the numbers around it. If you come to a publisher and sell the game as a designer, don't do this at all. You usually get between, well, you need to make sure you know what they are actually giving you. It could be given beforehand. After the fact they sold the game, it could be on what they sell for, or it could be towards MSRP. But normally you get something around 3 to 4% of the MSRP at best, I would say. Because if they sell to distributor, that's 60% discount. So if you have a 5% deal, then you will only get 2% of MSRP when they sell to distributors and so forth. So it usually sums up to 3 to 4%. If you do it this way, then you keep 100% if you sell it yourself, usually 90 to 80% if you sell on Kickstarter, 45, 50, 55% when you sell to retailers, 40% when you sell to distributors, which would be the case if we sell it. If we sell this to our distributors somehow, we will then, whatever we get in, we will pay 60% of it. No, 40%. Yes, so when we sell, depending on where we sell, of course. So if we sell to a retailer, they pay 55%, and we keep 15%. Okay, let's say we sell it to a retailer for 100, then they pay only 55 because they always have a discount. We keep 15 and you get 40 of the remaining 55. If we sell to distributor, we usually have to then they get the 60% discount, so then we need to keep some of the profits. So usually we take 10% and you get 13%. But you are the owner of the game and you are the owner of final say of everything. So that's the advantage. But the disadvantage is that you have to risk money, and the risking money, that's what we want to try and prevent as much as possible with this calculation. I'm going to finalize this now. Retailer pre-order, that they buy something beforehand. Distributor they will grow 200 copies, managed to sell those. Warehousing is usually a little cost, not much. MSRP, this one is, in this calculation, this is too high. Let's say you do your game that you sell for $59. It could be 140. I don't know what kind of game you do, but I just wanted to write that there. And then we have how much we sell of the remaining copies, what the average price sold from warehouses is, which is usually not 80%, it's usually 64, I would say, because you usually sell to distributors and at discounts. And then you have some numbers down here. So what you see up here is, okay, here I pay 3,000. If I actually sell 400 copies of this game at a crowdfunding, then you are in plus. This is your rolling, the rolling gain, so to speak. So then you are at $14,000 plus. If this was a bank account, then you would start by paying 3,000 from the bank account to us. Then you are 3,000 in debt. Then you would gain 17,000 or so, and then you will have $14,000 on there. Then we will sell a little more, and then you will pay the printing cost, and then you will pay more printing cost, and so on. So you will at some point be at a loss. But at the end of the day, you need to sell a number of copies to make a turnaround. And then let's see, there is some change here. What is this? Customs, that should be $3. That's something. Oh, this one was calculated from, let's see now. I should maybe have used the standard one because there are someone has been here fiddling with the numbers. But that's I'll fix it after the lecture. This one here is more, this is probably correct numbers in it. So I'll just show that because there's some errors in the numbers. We can change here to your $59 maybe for your game, and it will calculate the return on investments. So something iffy here. Anyways, this is how it works, and the important thing is to say that what you're seeing here is not like beta, this asset complete thing. This doesn't cost 142. This is the balance after this event on each of these rows. And then you can change things here. Okay, let's say we sell 600 copies. Let's go back to this one. Let's use this as it is, and we say, okay, now we can see we have a minus here. So let's say we instead manage to sell 600 copies on Kickstarter. Then the minus is lower. All right, then we need to maybe make retailer pre-orders 150 copies. Oh, sorry. This I don't really 150 this computer, and let's say we managed to do 300 for the back orders, and then we can see we start to get a break even at the end, and we're not running very low. We're running at minus 3,000, but you're never dipping down too low in your balance, so you're not risking more than like 3,000. And this is a tool to help you understand the mechanics of it, so you don't end up in a situation where you design a game, make a Kickstarter, get 300 backers, print 2,000 copies, sit there with 1,700 copies in your garage, and then start selling it. And when you start doing that, it's 1 year after the Kickstarter. Most people think it's an old game. It's hard to get stores interested. It's hard to get reviewers interested, and sales go slow, and all of a sudden the game is 2 years or 3 years old, and then it's very, very, very hard to get something done and get any tractions. So it's better, you need to sell early, preferably before the game even exists. All right, and that's part of what we try to do, and apart from helping with all our knowledge into the project, we also want to help particularly with the business model of things and the business thinking. So that's kind of what I had to say. And I didn't hear any bing. Oh, that's it. No, is this a hand? Daniel, did you have a question?
No, it's just me making some applause for you, because that was an excellent presentation. Thank you very much, Jan.
Thank you.
And I do believe that someone has raised their hand. And before I let you in, Ben, I just wanted to say that we've been running a bit late, but your presentation was so enthralling that I didn't want to stop you. So I'll say that we'll do a Q&A for 10 minutes, and then we'll do a short break for maybe 5 minutes after that. So Ben, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, thank you for a really fascinating and insightful talk. There's an awful lot to digest here. So you mentioned the use of the development of apps, but I was wondering what your perspective was on the incorporation of things like Board Game Arena or Tabletopia or Tabletop Simulator, how you see the offering of those versions into whether that is part of the kind of pre-sale or whether it's released at the same time as the physical copy, or just a reflection or an observation about how you see that connecting.
Yes, excellent question. So I didn't mention it, but we use Tabletop Simulator. Ion's case, we use Tabletop Simulator. That's very, very earlier than the Vision Freeze. So we have the Tabletop Simulator up and running when we start doing any kind of playtesting outside the office. And then we continuously update that. And it's much easier to update the Tabletop Simulator than to print all the cards and cut them and all of that. So, and also we can playtest all over the world. So that's a very, very useful tool for us when it comes to prototyping. And then we leave those up there for free, open for anybody. So everybody can play all our games for free on Tabletop Simulator. And then in our case, we have deals with Board Game Arena and Tabletopia that they make our games. They are allowed to make our games. They tell us which one they want to make. Then they make it for that place. And they put it in the premium slot so they can make money on it. And we will get a little bit of kickback. The income from that is minuscule. You can't count on any kind of. It's just promotion in my book. You can't earn anything on Tabletop Simulator, and the things you get from Board Game Arena, those it's in the hundreds, or I don't know, maybe we got 1,000. I don't think we got in the hundreds of dollars tops. So it won't make or break anything, but it's a very good way of playtesting and marketing your game. And if in the P3 service we make Tabletop Simulator mods for free as a part of it. So if anybody's there, then we will make sure there's Tabletop Simulator as well, and that can be public or not. It's up to you.
Great. So a resource really that sort of continues throughout the whole process, but then kind of changes kind of what it does, but mainly promotion. There will be no you'll be retiring off the back of Board Game Arena.
No, it's the Tabletop Simulator which we do ourselves. That's throughout the process. The Board Game Arena and Tabletopia we give them when the game is more or less sent to the manufacturer, because they want to have the super duper final files.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Next question.
I'm waiting for any raised hands, but Jason, did you want to say something? You have unmuted your mic.
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna plug Protospiel again. I don't know if you heard me mentioning earlier, but I run a different event than Saga. It's called the Malmo Protospiel. I started in 2019, where we invite designers from all over to come. They register a table, and it's free to the public. So they play games, and we raffle off prizes at the end. But yeah, we're always looking for sponsors and collaborators. What would be the best way to reach out with you to discuss possible collaboration possibilities? Since you mentioned this might be something that you're always interested in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just as we are now, not this year maybe, but we are planning to support Saga competition next year somehow. That's absolutely interesting. And I would say send an email to our info address, and then that will reach the person. It might be me because I'm dedicated to this cause, so to speak, but it's not really my task. It might also be a guy called Alexander, or maybe Justin or Besimen. So send an email to info@iongamedesign.com. I can put it in here if anybody wants.
Thank you.
That's actually the same address you would use if you're interested in the P3 service. Just right there, and then if you're interested, just, hey, this sounds great. What do we do next? And then we can talk together and decide whatever path to take moving forward. Yeah, I wanted to show one more thing. I'm still sharing the screen, am I? Yes, I am.
Yes.
So this is actually, I want to make a little extra. So we have a bunch of games now in the P3 service. I think it's, do I have this here? No. So at the moment, it's quite popular. I think we have a 15 or so half active projects, and we are. If you're coming to us, it's a bit similar that we will also say yay or nay, but we will say nay if we think the project still needs work, or if we will say probably should do this and this first, and then let's talk again. But we try to be accepting as much as we can to the projects, and try to accept any kind of project, because the advantage when doing this, we don't need the game to fit in our publishing profile or anything like that. We can have our logo on it if you want us or not. We can sell it in our store if you want or not. It's all up to you. But this one are the ones who have run the furthest, and they're called Chicago Grand Slam, and they have the Kickstarter page up. You can, if you want to support people who are doing these, I can put the links here. If you support a fellow game designer hobbyist, then you can did this go in as a link? Yes. Then you can go here and notify me or launch or something like that, and then they will be happy. And then if you seem to like the game, you can of course back it or so. But anyways, these are the ones that has come the furthest, and they are launching sometime soon. I just wanted to show one of them. But it's the service is pretty new, so full transparency. No one has gone all the way to have a game printed yet, but it takes a while to do all the steps, and usually it takes longer than you think. All right, and I saw something here. What is MSRP? That's Riktpris, like the. I don't even know what it is. I kommer inte på.
I think it stands for manufacturer's suggested retail price.
Suggested. I couldn't figure out what S was. So that's the manufacturer's suggested retail price, which is Riktpris in Swedish. All right, next question.
I think Alexander at the very bottom in the chat asked, do you make
a board game like apps or games that don't yes, that's the ones we do board game. We don't do at the moment, we don't do apps which are board games that is not already existing. We only do more or less identical versions of our physical games, but in the digital domain. And we are experimenting on how to and how much to deviate from it and how much to make the game different. But it's not So far we have no games that only exist as apps, so to speak. But for us, the physical board game is the main product. Yes, that was that. Next question. All right, everybody wants coffee. Is that the situation?
Something like that. I think it's 10 past 10 here in Sweden, so I'm thinking
Yeah, it's
something.
late.
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
it's getting late and stuff. If you're up for it, I could do one final question, and then we can cut for a break. So earlier on, you mentioned a vision freeze, which was sort of a new term for me. I hadn't really heard it before. I usually in certain game design circles we talk about knowing when a game is done, so to speak. Is a vision freeze something akin to that, where you sort of set a deadline, like, okay, now I'm going to stop fiddling with this game. It is more or less done. Now it's just tweaking in sort of the edges. Or is a vision freeze something different?
I would say vision freeze is slightly different. So in digital terms, you would call this an alpha. It's when something is feature complete, vision freeze. The vision shouldn't change now. You shouldn't add more mechanics, but you can still add a number of cards and a number of assets of sorts. So, and then next step would be beta in digital terms, or as we call it, asset freeze. And asset freeze means you're not supposed to add more player boards now. But whereas a vision freeze is you're not supposed to, all of a sudden come up with variable player powers if you had none before. But if you have variable player powers, you can continue to fiddle with them after vision freeze, but not after asset freeze. So after alpha, you fiddle with them, and after beta, you don't. That's the two terms that I use. And I think what you're describing is more the asset freeze situation when you say, now I will leave this game.
Yes, that is something. Yes, that is definitely the thing I was looking for. So a follow-up question. How do you know when to do a vision freeze?
That's so we have our games are following a 36-step schedule, and there are outputs, as we call them, which is inspired by Kanban. And then we have a output. It doesn't matter. I think it's like step 20 or something, and I think it's output 3, and that's when we evaluate the game for vision freeze, and then we have it play tested internally in front of all and compare it to what we said from the start when it comes to what's supposed to be in it, how complex it should be, what the target audience is, and how it places itself in the general as a product. And then ultimately it's a product owner, Besime, usually on all projects, that decide that okay, now this is a vision freeze, but it's a decision taken together with me as a creative director, with the lead game designer and the artists as well. So it's a team decision, but we have a very structured way. And if it's not, then okay, then it go back to step 18 or 19 again, and then we will have a new output 3 evaluation in 2 or 4 weeks.
That is so fascinating. At a later date, I think it would be excellent to hear more about Ion Game Design's 36-step process. That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
and definitely something I want to hear more about.
I'll be happy to share it. I'm actually writing a book at the moment to present all this, so that could also be in the future. But I would be happy to come here and tell you about it at any time.
Oh, this sounds like you have a million things you could pluck at any given moment. We
Yes.
are running a bit over time, so thank you so much, Jon, for giving this
Thank
excellent
you.
presentation.
Thank you for listening.
Yes, we will now take a short break up until 20 past 10. I will inform everyone here that this seminar was recorded, and I will put it up with Jon's admission on our YouTube page at a later date, where
Yes,
you can.
you have my permission.
Excellent. So you can go back and review everything that Jon crammed into the better part of an hour. Yes. So thank you so much again, and we will see each other again in about 5 minutes.
Perfect. You're welcome, and
Thank you very much,
happy to
Jon.
be here. And bye bye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.